Technology has the capability of being divisive, and I think there's always a struggle. You can hear and read about Elon Musk talk about AI as being the greatest threat, to mankind coming up. A lot of news journalism that talks about technology and its impact on people. I think the approach that I see technology is if you always keep the person, the user, at the center of what you're trying to design, you get a tremendous result because you're actually helping them. When you start using technology or any other form of science to better your own pocketbook or to sell things to people or to change their behavior for your benefit, not theirs, then you start getting into this gray area of whether or not this is something that is actually useful and good. So in healthcare, for example, if you utilize technology to engage people for wellness and to change their behavior, to understand the quality of life that they could experience if they just made some lifestyle changes or were persistent, or give them encouragement to continue their journey. That's very powerful. If you use it so that you can sell more product to them, that's not very useful. So we see that in the pharmaceutical industry, where now you have this concern about opioids and people saying, okay, all these painkillers are flourishing and they're being prescribed without much constraint, and they're affecting people's lives. Well, if I were to build an avatar that would help sell more painkillers, that probably wouldn't be a good use. But the fact is that there are painkillers that are a very important part of recovery, and for people who need those, that's what you need to do. So technology as a isolation factor, where everybody is sitting down looking at their iPhones at the dinner table, is also a society issue. If you raise your child and say you do not get your iPhone or your phone to the table, and you're going to have a normal conversation with your parents, and you start that at an early age, then you're okay. If you don't emphasize that the one-to-one, the person-to-person communication at the dinner table is about family, then you end up with 4 kids sitting there all looking at their iPhones, and not only is nobody talking, but they realize that they're chatting with each other just right at that table, because it's a lot easier. Mom and dad don't hear what you're saying. Human responsibility can't ever be removed, and I think robots and AI are augmented or helpers in our society, and they're not replacements. So for people who worry about, well, am I not going to have a doctor, or am I not going to have this person-to-person interaction, I think that doesn't take place in my vision of the world. But there are a lot of tasks that are routine. There are a lot of tasks that AI can do better because it's consistent, it listens. All of us as human beings have our senses, but some senses are better than others in each of us. And in a robot or a artificial intelligence avatar, you have the ability to be very consistent, and that's good. There's also the sense of not having judgment, passing judgment. So when you want judgment, you have a human being, but when you don't want passing judgment on somebody, you want a robot. So I think technology and artificial intelligence will help us considerably, just like robots in dangerous jobs have helped us. Can you imagine sending a person to defuse a bomb versus a robot to defuse a bomb? Big difference, right? And nobody would argue that you want to send, your kid out there to be the one. So those are the types of things where I think even with artificial intelligence, we'll be able to do things that people probably aren't best suited for. It's a very good question about how do you compare training humans versus training machines or avatars and justify the effort. So if you think about teaching a surgeon how to do surgery, and in history, you ended up having people learning on live bodies, right? You cut them open, you see the organs. Can you imagine doing that today? You wouldn't. Today we train surgeons with robotics, and we do real surgery with robotics because it's far more precise and less painful. So there is this concept of simulation that says we can learn. It's a great learning environment. But more important, once you perfect it, in a way, it's a good environment for you to actually do some of the things that you asked human beings to do. So think about your best teacher and being able to have that teacher teach you 10 subjects, and what are the qualities that that teacher that made them the best teacher. There wasn't their knowledge, it was how they imparted their knowledge to you, how they learned how to teach you the way you learn. Now take that teacher and be able to use that as a coach and use that in many aspects of your life. It'd be very hard to find enough people in your life to be able to emulate all of that. So being able to take the best and using that as a standard and helping you expand that to other areas of your life is really what we do.